You know, there's this invisible war happening all around us, in our gardens, on our farms, everywhere. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the secret world of plant disease and explore some absolutely incredible new ways we're learning to fight back. We've all seen this, right? A leaf that looks a little sad. Maybe it's on a tomato plant in your backyard or a rose bush. It's so easy to just see it as a sick plant and move on. But right on this surface, there is a microscopic drama unfolding. And that really gets to the heart of it. What is actually causing this? Is it a fungus, some kind of bacteria, something else? And more importantly, is our only choice really to just go grab a chemical spray? What if the cure was alive? Now that's the big idea we're diving into today. The shift away from just relying on harsh chemicals and instead turning to nature's own defenders to protect our plants. Okay, so before we can understand the battle, we kind of need to speak the language. Let's really quickly define what we're talking about and see how the experts diagnose a problem in the first place. The key word here, and this is super important, is process. See, a disease isn't like a branch just snapping off in the wind. That's an injury, it's instant. A disease is this continuous, ongoing interaction between a plant and a pathogen. It's like a slow-motion struggle for survival. And for diagnosis, this right here is a crucial distinction. A symptom is how the plant reacts to being attacked. You know, the wilting, the spots. It's the plant basically screaming, "Hey, I'm not feeling so good." But a sign? A sign is seeing the actual attacker. The physical evidence, like the fuzzy mold of a fungus or that sticky bacterial ooze. It's the difference between a patient having a fever, which is a symptom, and actually seeing the virus under a microscope. Finding a sign is the smoking gun. Okay, so now that we know what to look for, let's meet the usual suspects and figure out the exact conditions they need to really start causing trouble. For the most part, when we're talking about infectious plant diseases, they're caused by one of these four microscopic bad guys. They are the primary agents of chaos in the plant world. So let's do a quick meet and greet. First up, fungi. These guys are the heavy hitters. They are responsible for the vast majority of plant diseases. We're talking about things you've probably heard of, like powdery mildew, rusts, root rots. They spread through these tiny little spores that can travel on the wind, in water, even on your garden tools. Next up, bacteria. These little single-celled organisms are total opportunists. They usually can't just bust their way into a plant. No, they have to wait for an opening, like a cut from pruning, a bite from an insect, or even damage from a hailstorm. And then they sneak inside and start to multiply like crazy. And then you have viruses. Oh man, viruses are the ultimate hijackers. They're not even really fully alive on their own. They're just these tiny packets of genetic code that invade a plant's cells and then force those cells to stop doing their regular jobs and just make more and more viruses. And they often rely on insects, like aphids, to act as their personal taxi service from one plant to the next. And finally, nematodes. Now, these are insects. They're microscopic roundworms. The parasitic ones hang out in the soil, and they have these sharp, needle-like mouthparts they use to pierce into plant roots and suck out the nutrients, stunting the plant's growth right from the foundation. So you've got all these pathogens out there. But, and this is a big but, just because a pathogen is around doesn't automatically mean a plant's going to get sick. For an infection to actually take hold, you need this perfect storm, where three very specific things all happen at the same time. Here it is. This is the recipe. You need a plant that can actually get the disease, a susceptible host. You need a pathogen that's strong enough to cause it, a virulent pathogen. And you need the right environment, like, say, really high humidity. Pathologists call this the disease triangle. And here's the magic part. If you can remove just one of those three things, if you can break just one side of that triangle, the disease can't happen. It's a game changer. Okay, so let's take all that theory and see how it plays out in a real-world example. We're going to zoom in on one really devastating disease and a totally groundbreaking new way scientists are fighting it, using that very disease triangle to their advantage. So, meet our villain, a fungus called Cytospora leucostoma. It causes these awful, deep, destructive wounds called cankers on peach trees. And this isn't just a cosmetic issue, this is serious. It can choke off branches, destroy the fruit harvest, and yeah, it can actually kill the entire tree. It's a massive economic threat for farmers. And here's the kicker. The old solution, just spraying chemical fungicides, a lot of the time it doesn't even work that well against this particular fungus. And on top of that, it comes with some really serious worries about what it's doing to our environment and to our own health. This just sets the stage perfectly for a brand new way of thinking. So if chemicals aren't the answer, then what is? Well, a recent study tested a really radical idea. What if you could fight a bad fungus by using good microbes? These are the heroes of our story. Researchers basically put together this biocontrol team. Think of them like the Avengers of the microbial world. The idea was that a whole team working together could be way more effective than just one agent, attacking the bad guy from all different angles. The plan was to apply this microbial army right onto the canker wounds and just see if they could outcompete and destroy the disease. And the results, wow, they were just astounding. Let's just walk through this chart because it tells the whole story. The first bar on the left, that's the control group. They did nothing, and you can see the canker got way bigger. The middle bar, fungicide, shows that even with chemicals, the wound still grew. But now, look at that third bar, the biocontrol team. The treatment didn't just stop the disease, it healed the wound, shrinking that canker down to basically nothing. The official number from the field study, 100%. The best biocontrol cocktails achieved 100% disease reduction. They completely, totally wiped out the cankers on the trees they treated. I mean, what a stunning success for an eco-friendly approach. So this is obviously a massive breakthrough for commercial peach growers. But what can the rest of us learn from this? How can we take these same principles and use them to keep our own gardens healthy? Well, it all comes back to breaking that disease triangle we talked about. First, start clean. Get rid of all that old leaf litter. By doing that, you're removing the pathogen. Second, plant smart. When you can, choose varieties that are naturally resistant to disease. Boom! You've just removed the susceptible host. And third, water wisely. Keeping leaves dry creates an environment where it's really hard for fungi and bacteria to grow. See, by disrupting any one of those pillars, you can stop disease before it even gets a chance to start. And this really brings us to a final, bigger thought. The science is clearly showing us that we can move beyond just relying on chemicals. By understanding this incredibly complex web of life in the soil and on every single leaf, and by choosing to work with nature instead of against it, we're not just growing healthier gardens, we're actually pioneering a more sustainable future, one backyard at a time.